That's right, it's me again. So what have you been up to, Trevor? That's an excellent question. Well, recently, Kara and I went on a trip to the UK. And like the maniac I am, I decided to bring along some Warhammer models to paint. So this trip is gonna be split into two portions. In the first week, Kara and I are gonna be on holiday in London, where we will be seeing the sights, meeting some of her friends, and visiting her favorite establishment, Wetherspoons. In the second week of the trip, we will be heading over to Glasgow, where I need to attend a conference for work, and Kara will continue to be on holiday and live her best life. And during my downtime on the trip, I will be attempting to paint 12 homogons. But before we go, I'm gonna need to assemble and prime them at home. So I'm just gonna cut off their slot things, chop off some feet, sand down the connection points, and then re-glue the feet in more sensible positions so that our homogons have more realistic poses. Once I had all 12 assembled, I grabbed their bases, stuck on some clay, added a bit of texture, pressed the homogons into the clay, and left them to dry. Once everything was dry, I primed the homogons using some wraithbone, and I primed the bases in grey. I'm also gonna stick some magnets onto the bottom of the bases to make the homogons easier to transport home once I'm done painting them overseas. After that, I gathered all the paints I would need, threw them in my luggage, got a little tin box, lined the inside with a little bit of padding, threw in all the homogons and the bases, and then I packed that into my luggage as well. We gathered the rest of our stuff, and then it was off to the airport. A quick stop to look at my favorite art installation in the airport, and then it's on to our flight for an exciting 14-hour trip. UK, here we come. Heathrow Airport. And if you're wondering what you can bring into the UK, cameras? Yes. Souvenirs? No problem. Cocaine? Don't even think about it. We were also treated to Heathrow's legendary baggage system, which is a bit more free-form and flexible than other systems. But we eventually found our luggage, and then we were off to our Airbnb, which turned out to be a lovely little place that was close to both the River Thames and, more importantly, to a Wetherspoons. Just look at how wonderful and lovely it is outside. Think I'd better stay indoors and paint. So I found myself a piece of cardboard to serve as my painting mat, found out that none of my paints had exploded on the flight, and that my homogons had survived intact. And so I got started laying down some of the base colors. But you know, I'm not completely insane, so let's put aside the painting for a bit and head outside. So we went to Camden Market, met some highly suspicious characters, went to Kara's favorite pizza place, and watched a movie under the stars, which was very nice. But the movie was Thor: Love and Thunder, which could be improved. Now, in between, I did find some time to paint some more of the details on the homogons, but I also found some time to visit the London Warhammer store. Oh yes, look at that. They have painting tutorials, some truly beautifully painted models, and this guy. I love this guy. Okay, back to painting. So I painted all the pink details on the homogons, but you know, I've always wanted to watch the Book of Mormon, and ooh, look, there's a video game bar. But Trevor, what about those models you said you wanted to paint? Well, creepy child mannequin, we're only halfway through the trip. I can always keep painting these in Glasgow. So I packed up my homogons, and then we were off again to experience the joys of airport security. Goodbye, London, and hello, Glasgow. So our hotel in Glasgow was much smaller, and the only place I could find to paint was this small side table. So I got out my trusty painting mat, turned on this extremely conveniently placed light, got out my paints, got my models, and just like that, we were back in business. So of course I didn't spend all my time in Glasgow painting. Remember, this is a work trip, so I did have to go out to attend my conference. We saw the River Clyde, which I'm sorry to say does seem a little nicer than the River Thames, and we went to check out the Kelvin Grove Museum, which had a sick pipe organ recital going on. Ooh, and another Warhammer store. And they're gonna let me assemble the miniature of the month. Oh yes, I am so looking forward to painting this. Speaking of painting, by the second last day, I was about maybe halfway done painting my Homagons, and I ended up having to attend a Zoom meeting for work, which ended around 3 AM in the morning. But with the trip ending soon, I decided in my eternal wisdom to stay up after the meeting and try and finish my Homagons. And you know, I actually managed to finish the wash and start on the base coat for the bases. But after that, I called it a night. On the final day of the trip, I realized I forgot to bring super glue, so I went out to get some. And after my conference was over, I got back to finish the last bits of painting. And if you're wondering why my painting surface looks a bit different, it's because I shifted everything on top of my luggage to make more room. Once everything was painted up, I superglued the Homagons onto their bases, and believe it or not, that meant that I was done. So I packed up all the Homagons and all my paints, tossed them in my luggage, and then there was time for a final pint of Guinness. And after that, we were flying off. When we got back, I was pleased to find that all my Homagons had survived with only minor chipping. And there you have it, the story of how I painted one squad of miniatures while on holiday. Are these the best miniatures I've ever painted? No. Would I ever do this again? Probably not, but did I have fun? Of course I did. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out my Patreon. A huge thank you to my lovely fiancée Kara for accompanying me on this trip and for making it wonderful. Alright, and I'll see you all next time.